I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene told me personally, when members of the Freedom Caucus were blocking the floor, that Republican donors and voters didn't give Republicans a majority for us to block the floor and do nothing. Sure. And she was very mad about that. And Freedom Caucusers took that to heart and was really upset when she said that, because she's supposed to be one of them. So she's been extremely outspoken. But again, the cohesiveness within the Freedom Caucus is not necessarily needed because it's such a slim majority. I think it's more so the combative nature that she's kind of approached this with.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by Congressional reporter Reese Gorman. Reese, we've had recess. Congress has been away, yes, but the fights don't go away. Talk a little bit about the dynamics right now in the House Republican Conference.
Yeah, so as it's been about 2 weeks of recess now, and after 7 straight weeks, so there was a lot of tension within the House Republican Conference. And recently, it was Representative Andy Harris told a group of reporters, he was leading a pro forma session in Congress, and came out and told reporters that that Marjorie Taylor Greene is no longer part of the Freedom Caucus. Now, there has been some rift there between the two, between Marjorie Taylor Greene and other members of the Freedom Caucus, just from Marjorie Taylor Greene calling Representative Lauren Boebert, another Freedom Caucus member, bad name that I can't say here,
sure,
on the floor. And Marjorie Taylor Greene then doubled down on that and confirmed that she did say that. And also, just there's been tensions about her votes on things, whether it be the debt ceiling. She was trying to whip votes for the debt ceiling of other members of the Freedom Caucus. And there's just a feeling of just kind of that she wasn't really in line with the Freedom Caucus mission anymore. And so there was, Politico reported that there was a vote on Friday, June 23rd, to oust her from the Freedom Caucus. That was right before the July 4th recess. And the exact number and the tally of that vote had never been reported. But Andy Harris said that recently that Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's his understanding that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a member of the Freedom Caucus anymore. But Freedom Caucus spokesperson told me that that the HFC does not comment on their internal processes or membership. So there's really kind of up in the air right now, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's spokespeople have not commented yet. So.
Sure. I mean, it's what her status is a little opaque at the moment, but there definitely is some tension between her and the Freedom Caucus 100%. As it's sort of organized. So they're supposed to be sort of anti-leadership much of the time. And under House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, she's been relatively leadership friendly.
Yeah, she's really she came into Congress 2020, first time in Congress, or not 2020, she was elected.
Right. Came
in 2021. And was a firebrand, was really kind of anti-leadership ticket. She was in the minority at the time.
Right.
And she really has rebranded herself as somebody who can appeal to some of the more conservative members, but also really be a friend and be in the realm of leadership. And she's one of McCarthy's strongest allies. But it sounds like that straddling has really come to a head, and she's made one of the groups mad that she was trying to straddle, which is the more conservative members of the Republican Conference. And it seems to all kind of come, and I think there are some other members that are kind of aligned with leadership. Jim Jordan has been aligned with leadership. He's a former chairman of the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah.
But I think that with Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's more, I think people are a little bit more shocked, and I think that's where the anger comes from, because people aren't really that mad at Jordan, at least not publicly.
Right.
But I mean, he was whipping votes for McCarthy as Speaker. He came out in support of the debt ceiling bill. And so I think it is a weird dynamic, but I think Marjorie Taylor Greene might just be a little bit more outspoken and combative about her relationship with McCarthy and with members of the Freedom Caucus.
I mean, because it does get to their central strategy for how they're going to influence the House Republican majority. Their cohesiveness is a big part of their leverage over this small majority. You know, the fact that they can withhold votes from things. So if they're not so cohesive, maybe that causes them some problems.
It definitely would, but again, I think they don't have to be that cohesive, to be fair. They can easily all it takes is 5 of them to block any one thing. So there's I mean, they don't publicize their membership, so nobody really knows, but all it takes is 5 members of this group just to get together. And I mean, within every caucus, there's cliques, and there's cliques within the Freedom Caucus. It all takes just 5 of them to get up. So really, it doesn't need to be that cohesive because the majority is so small, they can just block whatever. But I think, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene told me personally, whenever when members of the Freedom Caucus were blocking the floor, that Republican donors and voters didn't give Republicans a majority for us to block the floor and do nothing. Sure. And she was very mad about that. And Freedom Caucusers took that to heart and was really upset when she said that because she's supposed to be one of them. So she's been extremely outspoken. But again, the cohesiveness within the Freedom Caucus is not necessarily needed because it's such a slim majority. I think it's more so the combative nature that she's kind of approached this with.
Well, the first rule of Freedom Caucus, like Fight Club, is that you don't talk about the Freedom Caucus.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Thank you, Reese.
Thank you, Jim.
You can read Reese and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.